Hello, and welcome to today's episode of The Ways of the World, where we focus upon a different country and culture and discover the different ways of the world through the lenses of Villanova students and faculty. These Villanovans have studied abroad and are here to share their experiences. I'm your host, Ava Petrosky. Today we're going to Rome, Italy, and we have a Villanova University junior, Ailish Wilson, joining us today, who spent a unique program. It was a week in Rome just recently. It was just this past October.
Yes.
So welcome, Ailish. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Tell me about Rome.
Rome was so amazing. It was my first time being in Europe, and I just loved it. I loved being in a new culture. I loved getting to travel with my classmates who I normally wouldn't really spend that much time with, so I really got to know them, and it was just great. My theology class is called The Church and Transformation, and in this class we're studying how the Catholic Church has changed over time. And currently, the Catholic Church is taking part in the Synod on Synodality, which is kind of a complicated process, but it's essentially a way for the Church to bring in marginalized voices to important conversations. And so this is the first time that lay people and women have been invited to have important conversations. And so it's this kind of years-long meeting. So we were going to get to be there during the second session of these conversations. And we got to meet some delegates who are voting in the Synod and some of the people who planned the Synod to learn more about it.
How did you get involved in the class?
I just saw the sign-up sheet on the Mission and Ministry newsletter, or the application, I should say, and I had taken that professor before. I really liked her, Dr. J.C. Joseph, and so I just submitted my application and decided to go.
How many students did you go with in your class?
There were 16 undergrads and 2 grad students who tagged along, and then 2 professors, so a total of 20 people.
What did you do with the Synod when you were there?
Yeah, so the thing about the Synod is while it's ongoing, it's confidential. So we couldn't actually observe the people talking about certain topics or the actual voting that was going on, because they vote on kind of what they want to publish in their final document. So we got to meet with delegates from the Synod and also get to meet with some of the people who planned the Synod. And basically we got to ask them some questions about how it was going, what their thoughts were. And they were very gracious to have us, but unfortunately, again, they couldn't really give us detailed and specific answers about what was going on. So some of us did kind of feel we didn't get to learn as much as we would have liked about the Synod, but it was still just really cool to be there. And we had other kind of spiritual experiences throughout the week that were very meaningful. So it was an amazing experience. It just wasn't necessarily what we expected from the Synod.
Mm-hmm. So is this something that Villanova does each year?
So no, this is the first time this class has ever been offered. And if it's offered again, it probably won't include a trip to Rome because the Synod won't really be happening. So it was kind of a once-in-a-lifetime thing.
And you took it?
Yeah.
So walk me through, I'm sure that you didn't have a strict schedule that you adhered to each day, but tell me about a typical day in Rome that you would spend.
Yes. So yeah, our days were all very different, but I would say we would get up pretty early in the morning, and we a lot of times would meet with the other students from Centers. And Centers was this grouping of Catholic schools from across the nation, Catholic colleges, so Boston College, Villanova, Georgetown, Santa Clara. I think there were about 14 colleges, and we had all come together as a group to learn more about the Synod. And so we would usually meet with them, and we would do things like discuss what our hopes and dreams for the Synod and pray for our hopes and dreams for the Catholic Church. And after we did that, we would usually then go sightseeing, which was really fun. And we focused a lot of our sightseeing on kind of spiritual places like the Vatican and the Basilica of St. Paul, and then just kind of all these different churches. And then usually we would kind of be on our own for lunch and dinner, but then almost every night our class would do a gelato debrief, which was really fun. And we would just all get together and eat gelato and talk about like what we had seen that day.
Did you try a gelato flavor that's a little niche?
Yes, I did. So we went to this one Argentinian gelato place because the Pope is from Argentina, Pope Francis. And allegedly it's his favorite gelato place in Rome. And I got his favorite flavor, it's like dulce de leche, I think is how you say it. And so apparently that's his favorite flavor, and it was amazing.
Okay.
It was amazing.
I mean, I haven't had it there, but I've had dulce de leche, and it's really good. Mm-hmm. What's your favorite meal that you had in Italy?
That's so hard. I would say I had some really amazing lasagna. It was just like somehow so much better than any lasagna I've ever had here.
Did you try anything new?
I don't know if I did, to be honest with you, because I feel like Italian food, it is in America. Yes. So most things I'd had before, but I think every version of what I tried was like an elevated version of what we have here, like the tiramisu, the lasagna. So yeah. Right.
So what's your favorite place that you visited?
That's so hard, but I think I would say the Basilica of St. Paul, because when you walk in, you just suddenly feel this presence. I can't really describe it, but like a picture will never really do it justice. And that's true of so many places in Rome. But just getting to be in that space was so cool. And we went at a really good time where there weren't that many tourists there. So it was just like this huge empty basilica, and you could really just take it all in, and it was amazing.
What was the weather over there in October?
It was warmer than I expected. It would be usually 70s and 60s. So, and we were doing a lot of walking. So it was hotter than I expected.
Oh, awesome. How long was the flight over there?
I want to say it was about 7.5 hours to Rome, and then maybe like 8.5 back. The jet lag really hit me. Yeah. I actually had to take a nap at our lunch table, and I felt really bad doing that, but I needed it.
Yeah.
And I survived. I took Tylenol because I was in pain from the jet lag, but I survived.
Did you have any challenges maybe assimilating to the language barrier?
A little bit. I mean, sometimes you would go into stores or little cafes, and the people working there would speak a little bit of English, but mostly Italian. So sometimes there was a bit of a language barrier. And actually, sometimes asking people where's the nearest bathroom was hard because they didn't know how to say it in English. But overall, most people spoke English, so I did okay.
Did you travel outside of Rome?
No, we did not. We did go to the town right next to Rome. I forget exactly how it's pronounced. I think it's Trastevere, which is this really adorable town, but it's right next to Rome, so it's very similar to it. Yeah.
If you could describe Rome in 3 words, what words would you choose?
I would say ancient, spiritual, and bustling.
Ooh, I like that one. Why?
Thank you. Why bustling? Or why all
of them?
I mean, ancient because you truly you are in an ancient city. And in the US, we don't have ancient cities. I mean, our oldest city, it might be Boston, which is where I'm from. And you do kind of walking around Boston, you feel oh, I'm back in colonial times. But Rome, you just see these the Colosseum and the Roman Forum and these ruins, and you're just wow, it's so old. People have been here for thousands of years. And then spiritual, I mean, just all of the holy places and all of the holy relics that are there are so cool. And then bustling, it's very crowded, which at times is it could be a bit much, but it's also very exciting because it's so lively there. Yeah.
Did you have any free time?
Yes, we did have free time throughout the day, and I was very grateful because, traveling it's a lot. And I honestly, to be honest with you, I think every block of free time we had, in each day, I would go back to the hotel and take a nap. Some people go explore, go pray, go shop. For me, I needed my daily nap.
Yeah.
Just recharge. So yeah.
Were the eating times different? Because I know some cultures eat a little bit later.
Dinner is definitely later than in the US, but actually that worked in our favor because we would go out and get dinner around 6 or 7 p.m. and the restaurants didn't really have any lines because they eat more around like 8 or 9, I believe.
Okay.
So that works in our favor.
Yeah. Did you have a favorite restaurant that you kept going back to?
I think we tried a new place every day, which was cool.
That's good.
They were all good. None of them were bad.
That is good. What were your living arrangements?
So we were staying in a hotel and I was in a room with 2 other girls, Mary and Rochelle. And it was really cool because I didn't know them that well. They're 2 seniors, I'm a junior. But you really get to know them after living in a tiny room together for a week. So it was fun. Definitely. It was like a little sleepover every night.
Did you know anyone going into the program?
Not really. I mean, I knew them all as classmates, but no one was like a close friend. And that kind of made it better, I think, because you grow as a person when you're kind of on your own. You're not with like your sibling or your best friend. So I kind of enjoyed that.
And when you applied, you had no idea?
No, I didn't know who was going to be in the class. Yeah.
That's awesome. If you had to film a trailer for Rome, what are some absolutes that have to be included in that trailer?
That's a great question. I mean, it's so hard because pictures and videos don't do it justice. So I think what I would do in a trailer is focus on all of the little details in Rome, like a little stray cat walking across like the street and the people selling little watercolor paintings on the street, and just kind of the liveliness, or like a image of like 2 people clinking their drinks together. I don't know, to just capture kind of the spirit of Rome.
Definitely. What is a challenge that you faced when you were over there?
I mean, I think that it was amazing overall. I wouldn't say there were any major challenges. I did miss my family a little bit, and it was my first time traveling without my family. So it was kind of funny because I was like, wow, I'm in this new place, but like, why aren't my siblings and parents here? And I think I did miss them a little bit. And I was like, oh, I wish they were here seeing these things. But that was kind of a minor feeling.
Have you seen them since to show them pictures?
I have not, but I've texted with them, FaceTimed. So yeah.
So they're seeing it a little bit.
Yes.
And then you'll show them when you see them.
Yes.
That's good. What is something that really surprised you about Rome and Italian culture?
Ooh. You know what? This is a small detail, but the shop owners there are very different than shop owners in the US, where if you're kind of browsing, like I was browsing scarves one day and the Italian man working there at the little boutique came right up to me and said, what color do you want? And I was like, oh, I think the blue is nice. And he was like, here you go, 15 euros. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm buying this. So they really like push it on you, even if you're not sure. And he was like, very pretty. They're like, and so that's a little bit different. I think in the US, you would think that they were being rude if a shop owner did that, but it's just the culture there. So
did you get the blue scarf?
I did. It worked on me. Yeah, it did. And I'm kind of a people pleaser. So then I was like, well, now I have to buy this. So,
have you worn it around campus?
I haven't. It's a bit formal.
Okay.
And actually I was thinking to myself when I got back, when will I wear this scarf? But it's a keepsake.
You made the shop owner really happy.
I'm sure I did.
So
yeah.
You had that. If you could redo your Rome experience, what would you change or do differently if you would do anything differently at all? Maybe you wouldn't.
That's a good question. I don't know if I would do anything differently. Yeah, I think everything was good. I think I went into it with an open mind and I just didn't know what to expect, but that was a good thing.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite memory from the trip?
Yes, I think one of my favorite memories was on the final night, our whole class had dinner together with our professors and everyone was laughing and we did a toast and the energy was really high. And then we walked out of the restaurant and realized it had started pouring rain. And our hotel wasn't too far away, so we were all just gonna walk back and we all just kind of took off running and just running through the streets of Rome at night in the rain after having that great dinner was just so cinematic and such a perfect way. And we were all laughing. And it was such a perfect way to end our trip. And we knew we had like our flight back in the morning, and this little bubble we had created was like about to burst. But it was just such a cool moment. And I will always remember that.
Do you feel a lot closer to the people that you went with since before going?
I do, yes. Because there's just like things that you experience with people and that you won't ever experience again. Like I won't ever see the Coliseum for the first time again. And it's funny because I don't think any of them have become my new best friends, but we will always, when we see each other, have this memory of our time in Rome.
Yeah. What was your reaction to seeing the Coliseum for the first time?
I thought it was really cool. And again, you can see like just how ancient the city is when you see this huge building. To be honest, me and my friend who I was with, Vincent, we didn't want to pay the 40 euros to actually go inside the Coliseum. We were like, I think just looking at it from the outside is enough. So that's kind of all we did.
Yeah.
But it was really cool.
Was there anything that you saw that just made you stop in your tracks and go, wow, that's beautiful?
I mean, seeing the Pope was amazing. And I mean, stop in my tracks, we were stopped in our tracks because we were waiting to see him. But just when you see him, he came by on his Pope mobile and he just had the kindest, most humble smile on his face. And it's just seeing him after just seeing pictures and videos of him for so long was so cool. And that is another moment I just won't forget.
Yeah. Did you go to Vatican City often?
We did a tour on the first day, and then we would go to the Basilica. We would like meet there, and we went to the Pope's general audience that one day. But I think we were actually in Vatican City once for the tour, and then a second time when we got to hear from some of the synod planners. So twice.
Okay, awesome. So my last question for you is, do you have any advice for people who really want to travel to Rome?
Ooh, yes, I think I do. I think I would say that expect the unexpected, because there's a lot of things that will surprise you about Rome. But ultimately, it's such a cool place. Like, it's so special, and just take it all in. Like, take in the food, the smells, the accents, and all the different things you can see. Like, there's just, you're never going to run out of things to do there. So pack your days with as much as you can.
That's beautiful. Ailish, thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome.
And for sharing with us your extremely unique experience. That's incredible, and I'm really happy that you got to do that. Thank you so much for watching today's episode of The Ways of the World. I'm Ava Petrosky. Stay tuned for our next segment.